The 90s are the times when the index on the trunk lid really corresponded to the engine displacement under the hood. So, the sign S280 implied a 6-cylinder block with a capacity of 2.8 liters and a power of 193 horsepower. It is unlikely that anyone will doubt that this engine has no place in such a large ship. The same can be said about the S320 or S320 SE version with the same engine, but expanded to 3.2 liters, 231 horsepower. Both modifications were available with a manual transmission. It is worth noting that the block of all these units had 6 cylinders arranged in a row. Turbodiesels did not differ in valiant prowess. Here, OM 600 6-cylinder units with a volume of 3.0 and 3.5 liters were used, developing 177 and 150 horsepower, respectively. Torque, 310 to 330 Nm, was not impressive and slightly exceeded that of the most modest naturally aspirated engine, 270 Nm. TD only allowed for lower operating costs, because diesel fuel was cheaper than gasoline in those days. But the tough work of the diesel did not match the exclusive character of the Mercedes S-Klasse. The real pleasure was delivered only by V8, 400, 420 and 500, and V12, 600. Weaker 4.2-liter V8s developed 279 and 286 horsepower, S400 and 420, while the 5-liter is 320 to 326 horsepower. However, an even more important parameter is the torque, reaching a value of 480 Nm. The base V8 generates 400 Nm, which is also a lot. Phenomenal Performance has a 6-liter V12, developing 394 or 408 horsepower. The maximum torque of 580 Nm ensures acceleration to 100 km per hour in less than 7 seconds. Basic versions with petrol V6 were completed with a manual transmission. The automatic transmission was available for a surcharge. All other modifications were equipped exclusively with an automatic transmission. Before restyling, and in diesel models until the very end of production, a 4-speed automatic was used. Since 1995, a more efficient 5-speed automatic transmission has been installed. Executive sedan could only be rear-wheel drive. First of all, you need to think about why you need such a car. A huge sedan is more likely not suitable for everyday trips every day, especially around the city. But if there is nowhere without it, then the S320 or S300 SE versions will be the best choice. It is worth paying attention that the 2.8-liter engine is hidden under the last designation. In any case, you should not expect good dynamic performance from 6-cylinder engines. You should not count on the average fuel consumption below 15 liters. Versions with a manual transmission are a little more economical, but not as comfortable. Contrary to popular belief, the electrics of power units are not complicated and do not require constant intervention. All engines have a chain-type timing drive, which is durable. However, with impressive runs, the timing chain and gears of the 12-cylinder S600 engine wear out the fastest. Operating costs are directly proportional to engine size and number of cylinders. But the dismantling of 2 6-chamber heads is still necessary, which is quite expensive. You should also be prepared for the unquenchable thirst of the 600th, about 20 liters per 100 kilometers. However, the reliability and durability of motors depends on care in the past. Diesels are more susceptible to malfunctions, especially the 3.5-liter, which is afraid of overheating. The cheapest gasoline R6 to repair, besides, it is familiar to many mechanics. A little more expensive to maintain a V8, and if something serious happens to a V12, you can hardly afford to repair it. When looking for a suitable copy, you should avoid cars converted to run on gas. It is almost impossible to assess the quality of the HBO installation and the regularity of its maintenance. The S-Klasse from the 90s is one of the most reliable executive cars of the time. 10 years of development were not in vain. Although C-Class and E-Class owners face corrosion, the W140's body can withstand much more. Copies of the first 2 years of production, 1991 and 1992, are less susceptible to corrosion. In 1993, Mercedes, in accordance with the tightened environmental requirements, began to use water-based paints. They resist rust less well and begin to flake faster than older solvent-based varnishes. But even if rust appears, the metal resists to corrosion for a very long time. The electrical part practically does not fail, even despite such a rich equipment. Problems with electrical equipment can only arise after serious accidents and flooding. However, you should check the operation of all systems, especially windows and climate control. When buying a relatively cheap copy, you need to focus on examining the engine and automatic transmission. Repair of these units will not be cheap. For leaks, it is worth inspecting the box and rear axle. When inspecting, look under the oil filler cap. The presence of soot will tell you about an irregular oil change or its poor quality, and milky frothy deposits about problems with the block head or gaskets. The oil in the automatic transmission should be dark red, but not brown, and should not have an unpleasant burning smell. Next, pay attention to the suspension. Due to the large mass, its components wear out relatively quickly. Quite often wheel bearings suffer. Buying a good copy will not save you from possible repairs. Everything depends on the past. Even cars in excellent condition have many shortcomings, mainly due to a decent age. From the fact that the S-Class has fallen in price, repairs have not become more affordable. Heavy use quickly kills average quality brake pads and discs. The more powerful the engine, the larger the discs. If you are going to ride for a long time, then you should replace worn components with products of increased durability.